The stars above Earth flickered as massive shadows blocked their light. Park Hyun sat in his observation station, watching his screen with growing alarm. The readings made no sense at first. Then they made terrible sense. "We have ships," he said into his communicator, his voice steady despite his racing heart. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. The Valorian Empire had arrived. Their fleet stretched across the darkness of space like a metal storm. Each ship was larger than anything humans had ever built. They moved with purpose, taking positions around Earth and its moon. Within hours, every defense station, every satellite, every communications array received the same message. Commander HFY stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the blue planet below. He had done this 47 times before. 47 worlds had surrendered to him. 47 civilizations now served the Valorian Empire. This would be 48. "Broadcast the message," he ordered. His voice echoed across Earth in every language. "People of Earth, you have been judged by the Valorian Empire. Your world is now under our control. You have 48 hours to surrender. Resist and you will be destroyed. This is your only warning." Lee Suji stood on the bridge of Defense Station Harmony, Earth's largest orbital platform. She was a captain with 20 years of service. She had trained for invasion scenarios, but training felt different from reality. "All stations report ready," her officer said. She nodded. Earth's defenses were good, but not good enough. Not against this. She looked at the enemy fleet and made a decision that surprised even herself. "Open a channel to the Valorian flagship." Her crew stared at her. "Captain?" "Do it." Seconds later, HFY's face appeared on her screen. He looked almost human, but not quite. His skin had a gray tone. His eyes were larger, positioned slightly to the sides. Prey eyes, she thought. Eyes that watched for danger. "I am Captain Lee Suji of Earth Defense. We received your message." "Then you understand surrender is your only option," HFY said. "I understand you think that," Lee Suji replied. "But we'd like to talk first. Face to face." HFY tilted his head. This was unusual. Most species begged for mercy or threatened violence. They didn't ask for meetings. "You wish to negotiate terms?" he asked. "I wish for you to understand what you're dealing with," she said. "Give us one meeting. If you still want to invade after that, we'll give you our answer then." HFY considered. One meeting would cost nothing. It might even be entertaining. "Agreed, you will come to my flagship. Bring no weapons. You have 6 hours." The channel closed. Lee Suji's crew erupted in questions. "Captain, what are you planning?" She smiled. "I'm bringing them a gift. Get me Kang Mirai from Diplomatic Services, and tell her to bring her dog." On the lunar surface, Nam Teo watched the fleet through his telescope. He was a xenobiologist, someone who studied alien life. Now alien life had come to him. The Valorians had sent down small drones scanning Earth's cities and settlements. Nam Teo watched the data they collected. The drones seemed confused by something. They kept focusing on specific biological signatures in human homes. "What are they looking at?" his assistant asked. Nam Teo pulled up the scan data. "They're detecting predator species. Lots of them. In our cities, our homes, everywhere." "Well, yes," his assistant said. "People have pets." Nam Teo paused. He looked at his assistant, then at the data, then back at his assistant. "Oh," he said softly. "Oh, they don't know." Aboard the Valorian flagship, HFY reviewed the drone reports. Something was wrong. The scans showed Earth's dominant species living in close proximity to carnivorous predators. Some of these creatures had bite forces that could crush bone. Others had claws designed for killing. Could the scans be wrong? His second officer asked. "Run them again," HFY ordered. The results came back the same. Humans shared their living spaces with predators, not in cages, not in containment fields. They just lived together. "Perhaps they are prisoners," someone suggested. "Forced to live with these creatures as punishment?" But the scans showed these arrangements in nearly every human dwelling. It made no sense. "We will ask them at the meeting," HFY decided. "Prepare the conference chamber." 6 hours later, the human delegation arrived. Lee Suji came with 5 others. Kang Mirai, the diplomat, Cho Do-yun, a security officer, Han Ji-woo, a biologist, and 2 others carrying sealed containers. HFY met them in the conference chamber. It was a huge room designed to make visitors feel small. The walls showed images of conquered worlds. But the humans didn't seem impressed. They seemed almost amused. "Welcome," HFY said. You wish to speak before Earth's surrender. We wanted you to meet some friends first, Kang Mirai said. She nodded to Cho Do-hyun. He opened his container. Something moved inside. A large creature emerged. It was covered in black and tan fur. It had powerful jaws filled with sharp teeth. Its eyes were alert and intelligent. It looked at the Valorians and its tail began to wag. Every Valorian in the room stepped backward. This is Baram, Cho Do-hyun said, stroking the creature's head. He's a German shepherd. He's my partner. Your partner? Thexval's voice was quiet. That is a predator. He's a dog, Kang Mirai said. We keep them as companions, as pets. The second container opened. A smaller creature stepped out. It had gray fur and green eyes. It looked at everyone in the room with complete indifference, then jumped onto the conference table and started grooming itself. That's my cat, Lee Suji said. Her name is Narai. Thexval stared at the creatures, then at the humans, then back at the creatures. His mind raced through possibilities. Mind control? No, the scans would have detected that. Mechanical constructs? No, these were clearly biological. You bring predators to negotiate? He asked. We bring family, Han-ji-woo said. Commander, how many worlds have you conquered? 47, Thexval said automatically. And on those worlds, how do the dominant species relate to predators? Thexval didn't answer. The answer was obvious. They hid from predators. They built walls against them. They hunted them to extinction when possible. That was what intelligent species did. We're different, Kang Mirai said softly. We don't just survive predators, Commander. We befriend them. Cho Do-hyun gave a command. Baram sat, then lay down, then rolled over. Each trick was performed perfectly. The Valorian warriors watched with wide eyes. Narai the cat yawned, showing her fangs, then curled up on the table to nap. Impossible, Thexval whispered. Very possible, Lee Suji said. We've been doing it for 40,000 years. And Commander, if you want to conquer Earth, you need to understand something important. She leaned forward. These creatures could kill us easily. They choose not to. They choose us. And that's just our pets. Would you like to know what we've done with the really dangerous animals? Thexval said nothing. For the first time in his long military career, he felt something he had never felt during an invasion. Fear. Thexval ordered his warriors to stay calm, but he could see their fear. These humans stood relaxed next to creatures that could tear through flesh. The black and tan beast called Baram sat obediently, but Thexval had seen the scans. Those jaws could bite with 300 pounds of force. The smaller one, the cat, looked harmless as it slept, but it had retractable claws and reflexes faster than most species could track. Explain this, Thexval demanded. What technology do you use to control them? Kang Mirai smiled. No technology. Just trust. And treats. She pulled something from her pocket. A small brown piece of something. Baram's ears perked up immediately. His whole body tensed with excitement, but he didn't move. He waited. Baram, Cho Do-hyun said. Speak, the dog barked once. The sound echoed in the conference chamber. 2 Valorian officers reached for their weapons. Easy, Cho Do-hyun said to his dog. He tossed the treat. Baram caught it in midair and swallowed it happily. You train them with food? Thexval asked. And love, Cho Do-hyun said. Baram lives in my home. He sleeps beside my bed. When I'm sad, he comforts me. When there's danger, he protects me. Not because I force him, because he wants to. Han-ji-woo stepped forward. She carried a data pad. Commander, may I show you something? Thexval nodded slowly. Han-ji-woo projected an image above the table. It showed a creature that looked similar to Baram but different, wild, dangerous. This is a wolf, she said. 40,000 years ago, our ancestors met wolves. They were predators. They hunted the same prey we did. We should have been enemies. She changed the image. It showed humans and wolves sitting together around a fire. Instead, we became friends. We shared food. We shared shelter. Over thousands of years, wolves changed. They became dogs. There are now over 300 breeds of dogs, all of them descended from wolves, all of them loyal to humans. Why? Thexval asked. Why would a predator give up its freedom? Because we gave them something better, Kang Mirai said. Security, food, affection, purpose. Dogs don't feel trapped with us, Commander. They feel complete. Lee Suji gestured to her sleeping cat. Narai's ancestors were also hunters, wild cats that could survive alone. But about 10,000 years ago, they chose to live near human settlements. We had grain stores, Grain attracted mice. Cats hunted the mice. We appreciated that. We started leaving food out for them. Narai woke up, stretched, and walked across the table directly toward HFY. He froze. The cat stopped in front of him. She sat down and stared at him with green eyes. Then she began to purr. She likes you, Lee Suji said. Cats are independent. They choose who they trust. She's choosing you. I don't want it to choose me, HFY said quietly. Too late. Lee Suji smiled. Narai stood on her back legs and put her front paws on HFY's chest. She headbutted his chin gently. It was a gesture of affection. HFY stood perfectly still, terrified to move. Pet her, Kang Mirai suggested. Gently, along the back. HFY's hand shook as he reached out. His fingers touched the soft fur. Narai purred louder. Against every instinct screaming in his mind, HFY stroked the cat. Nothing bad happened. The cat just purred. This is insane, HFY whispered. This is normal, Lee Suji said. For us. Han Jiwoo changed the projection again. Now it showed various animals. Horses, cows, chickens, rabbits, birds, even fish. We don't just have dogs and cats, she explained. We've domesticated dozens of species. We bred wolves into dogs for companionship. We domesticated horses for transportation, cattle for food and labor, chickens for eggs. But it's not slavery, Commander. It's partnership. Partnership? HFY pulled his hand away from Narai. You eat them. Some of them, yes, Kang Mirai admitted. We're honest about that. But we also care for them. We give them good lives. We protect them from disease and predators. Many humans choose not to eat animals at all. They keep them only as companions. How many of these creatures do you have? HFY asked. On Earth? About 1 billion dogs. Maybe more. 500 million cats. Billions of farm animals. And those are just the common ones. Some people keep reptiles, spiders, birds of prey, even creatures from the ocean. HFY sat down heavily in his chair. You live on a planet surrounded by predators. We live on a planet shared with friends, Lee Suji corrected. Cho Do-yun gave another command. Baram, come. The dog walked over. Shake, Baram lifted his paw. Cho Do-yun shook it gently, then hugged the dog. Baram's tail wagged so hard his whole body moved. I've had Baram for 8 years, Cho Do-yun said. Before him I had another dog. Before her, another. When they die, we grieve, we cry. Because they're not just pets, Commander. They're family. A young Valorian officer spoke up, his voice shaking. On our world, we built walls to keep predators out. We hunted them until they fled to the deepest forests. We fear them. How can you not fear them? Hanjiwoo looked at him kindly. Because we grew up with them. A human child meets their first dog when they're very young. They learn that not all teeth are meant to bite. Not all claws are meant to scratch. They learn that different species can care for each other. She pulled up another image. It showed a small human child sleeping peacefully. A large dog slept beside the child, one paw draped protectively over the tiny body. That's my nephew, she said. That's his dog, Hanil. Hanil would die before letting anything harm that child. The Valorians stared at the image in silence. HFY finally spoke. You said dogs are descended from wolves. What are wolves like now? Still wild, Lee Suji said. Still free. We have nature preserves where wolves live without human interference. We protect them. We study them. We respect them. Not everything needs to be tamed, Commander. We understand that. So you keep some as companions and leave others wild? Yes, it's about choice and balance. The wolves that became dogs chose a different path thousands of years ago. The wolves that remained wild chose their path too. We honor both choices. Narai had climbed onto HFY's lap. She was kneading his leg with her paws, claws carefully sheathed. The purring was loud in the quiet room. What does it want? HFY asked nervously. Affection, warmth. She trusts you, Lee Suji said. Congratulations, Commander. You've been adopted by a cat. I don't want to be adopted. Cats don't care what you want, Lee Suji laughed. That's what makes them cats. Kang Mirai became serious. Commander, you came to Earth planning to conquer us. You've conquered 47 worlds. But I want you to understand something. Those worlds probably feared you because you're powerful. You have advanced technology, large armies, impressive ships, she gestured at Baram and Narai. We tamed wolves. We convinced cats to live with us. We taught birds to trust us. We ride horses that could kick us to death. We swim with dolphins that could drown us. We keep snakes that are venomous. Some humans even work with bears, with large cats, with creatures that see us as food. Her voice was gentle but firm. We don't do this because we're warriors, Commander. We do this because we understand something fundamental. Real strength isn't about domination. It's about connection. The strongest bonds aren't chains. They're trust. HFY looked at the cat in his lap, at the dog sitting calmly beside the human, at these people who lived every day with creatures that could kill them. What are you trying to tell me? He asked. Lee Suji met his eyes. We're telling you that if you want to conquer Earth, you'll be fighting a species that made friends with wolves. Think carefully about what that means. HFY read Velix's report 3 times. Each time he felt his understanding of the universe shift. He called an emergency meeting of his senior staff. The conference room filled with officers who had served in countless invasions. We need to discuss Earth, HFY said. But first, we need to discuss ourselves. He pulled up an image of their homeworld, Valoria. It showed a planet of vast plains and deep forests, beautiful but empty of large predators. Our ancestors evolved as prey, HFY said. We were hunted by creatures larger and stronger than us, so we learned to hide, to run, to build walls. Eventually, we learned to fight back. We developed weapons, we organized armies. We pushed the predators back until they were gone. He looked at his officers. Every species in our empire shares this history. We allied with prey species like us, species that understood fear, species that built civilizations by protecting themselves from danger. An officer spoke up. That's how intelligent species survive, by avoiding predators. That's what we thought, HFY said. He pulled up images from Velix's report. Humans with dogs, humans with horses, humans swimming with sharks, but humans are different. They didn't hide from predators. They didn't just fight them, they befriended them. That's impossible, another officer said. Predators can't be befriended. Watch this, HFY played a video. It showed a human child barely old enough to walk. A massive dog sat beside the child. The child grabbed the dog's ear and pulled hard. The dog didn't snap or bite. It just turned its head and licked the child's face. The child laughed. The Valorian officers sat in stunned silence. That dog's ancestors were wolves, HFY said. Pack hunters that could bring down prey twice their size. Now look at it. It lets a child herd it and responds with affection. He played another video. A cat sleeping on a keyboard while a human tried to work. The human just worked around the cat, smiling. That's not submission, an officer said slowly. The animals aren't forced. They're choosing this. Exactly, HFY said. Humans didn't conquer these animals. They formed partnerships. A message came through from Valoria. High Admiral Krexthor's face appeared on the screen. He was the supreme commander of all Valorian forces. HFY explained this delay. You should have conquered Earth by now. HFY straightened. Admiral, I need to show you something. He shared the reports and videos. Krexthor watched in silence. His expression changed from impatience to confusion to something like fear. Is this real? Krexthor finally asked. Completely real. I verified it myself. They live with predators voluntarily? Not just live with them, Admiral. They love them. They consider them family. Krexthor was quiet for a long moment. I need to consult with the Council. Do not proceed with invasion until I contact you again. The channel closed. HFY looked at his officers. We wait. Hours later, HFY received a request from Earth. A human wanted to speak with him. It was Park Hyun, the astronomer who first detected the Valorian fleet. Commander, Park Hyun said when the channel opened. I heard your scouts visited Earth. I thought you might have questions. Many questions, HFY admitted. I'm trying to understand your species. What confuses you most? The dogs. The wolves that became dogs. How did this happen? Park Hyun smiled. May I tell you a story? HFY nodded. 40,000 years ago, humans were hunter-gatherers. We lived in small groups, moving from place to place. Wolves lived similar lives. They hunted in packs, just like we did. Park Hyun pulled up images showing ancient humans and wolves. At some point, wolves started following human hunting parties. They ate the scraps we left behind. Some humans started leaving food out for them intentionally. Why? Maybe because the wolves warned us when danger approached. Maybe because we saw something of ourselves in them. Pack animals like us, he continued. Over generations, something changed. The wolves that were less afraid of humans had an advantage. They got more food. They survived better. They had more pups. Those pups were also less afraid. Over thousands of years, wolves changed. They became smaller, friendlier, more dependent on humans. But humans changed too, Park Hyun said. We became more protective, more nurturing. The groups with dogs survived better than groups without them. Dogs helped us hunt. They guarded our camps. They kept us warm on cold nights. We evolved together. Shin Yoonji, an anthropologist, joined the conversation. Commander, this partnership changed human civilization. Dogs helped us hunt more effectively. They helped us spread across the continents. They protected our livestock when we developed agriculture. They pulled our sleds in frozen lands. They warned us of danger. They comforted us when we were alone. But most importantly, she said, they taught us something fundamental. They taught us that different species can trust each other, care for each other, that love doesn't require being the same. Jong Minho, a military historian, added his perspective. Commander, your empire conquered through fear and force. But human civilizations grew differently. We didn't just dominate other species. We recruited them. He showed a map of human history. When we spread across Earth, we brought dogs with us. When we developed agriculture, we domesticated cattle, sheep, and pigs. When we built cities, cats came to control the rodents. When we needed transportation, we tamed horses. Every major human civilization was built with animal partners. You see strength in your weapons and ships, Jong Minho said. We see strength in our relationships. A human with a dog is stronger than a human alone. A farmer with horses can feed more people. A shepherd with dogs can protect large herds. Thexval processed this information. So your power comes from these partnerships? Partly, Park Hyun said. But it's more than that. These partnerships taught us how to cooperate with beings different from us, how to communicate across species, how to build trust with those who think differently. He leaned forward. Commander, you conquered 47 worlds by making them fear you. But fear doesn't last forever. Fear breeds resentment, resistance. Your empire is held together by force. What are you suggesting? Thexval asked quietly. I'm suggesting there's a better way, Park Hyun said. You could try what we did with wolves 40,000 years ago. Stop being predators. Start being partners. High Admiral Krexthor contacted Thexval again. This time the entire Valorian Council was present. They had watched all the reports and videos. We have discussed the situation, Krexthor said. We have come to a decision. Thexval waited. We have conquered 47 worlds. Krexthor continued. We told ourselves it was necessary, that we were bringing order to chaos, but watching these humans with their animals, we see something we have never seen before. What is that, Admiral? Joy, Krexthor said simply. When that child pulled the dog's ear and the dog licked its face, there was joy. When the farmer rode his horse, there was joy. When the woman healed the sick cat, there was joy. He paused. In all our conquered worlds, we have never created joy. We have created order, efficiency, obedience, but not joy. The council members nodded in agreement. Thexval, we are ordering you to stand down. There will be no invasion of Earth. Understood, Admiral. Instead, Krexthor said, we have a different mission for you. Ask the humans if they would be willing to teach us. Teach us how to befriend instead of conquer. Teach us how to create partnerships instead of forcing submission. Thexval felt something unfamiliar. Hope. And Thexval, Krexthor added, ask them about those cats. The council is very curious about the cats. 6 months had passed since the Valorian fleet arrived at Earth. The massive warships still orbited the planet, but now they were joined by human vessels, trading ships, research stations, cultural exchange shuttles. The invasion fleet had become something else entirely. Thexval stood in what used to be his war room. Now it was filled with humans and Valorians working together. Lee Suji had been promoted to Director of Interspecies Relations. She coordinated all activities between Earth and the Valorian Empire. How are the first contact programs going? Thexval asked. He was now Ambassador Thexval, no longer a military commander. Very well, Lee Suji said. We have 20 Valorian groups on Earth right now. Each one is learning about a different type of animal. She pulled up a screen showing various locations. In one image, Valorian scientists watched nervously as Oh Sungho, a veterinarian, showed them how to approach a rabbit. Start with herbivores, Oh Sungho was saying. Animals that don't hunt. Rabbits are gentle. They're scared of you, not dangerous to you. A young Valorian reached out slowly. The rabbit sniffed their hand, then allowed itself to be petted. The Valorian's face showed wonder. "It's so soft," they whispered. "This is Solmi," Osungho said. "She's been helping us teach for 3 months now. She's very patient with beginners." In another location, a group of Valorians attended a lecture about animal behavior. The instructor explained body language, communication signals, and emotional bonding. "Understanding animals is about observation," the instructor said. "Watch how they move. Listen to the sounds they make. They're always communicating. You just need to learn their language." On Valoria, the homeworld changes were happening too. Quan Jihai led a delegation of humans and earth animals to the Valorian capital. She brought rabbits, guinea pigs, and one very special dog. The dog's name was Bitgol. She was a golden retriever trained as a therapy animal. Gentle, patient, and incredibly tolerant. Perfect for a species learning to overcome thousands of years of instinct. Quan Jihai stood in a Valorian school. Young Valorians sat in neat rows watching with large eyes. On Earth, she had done this presentation hundreds of times for human children. This was very different. "This is Bitgol," she said. "She's a dog. I'm going to show you how she interacts with me. Then some of you can meet her, but only if you want to. No pressure," she demonstrated. Bitgol sat, lay down, rolled over. The Valorian children watched in amazement. Then Quan Jihai did something that made them gasp. She lay down on the floor and used Bitgol as a pillow. The dog remained perfectly still, supporting the human's head. "She's my friend," Quan Jihai said. "I trust her completely." She stood up and invited volunteers. At first, no one moved. Then a small Valorian child stood up. Their name was Zelmin. They walked forward slowly. "It's okay to be scared," Quan Jihai said. "Fear is natural, but you can choose to be brave." Zelmin reached out. Their hands shook. Bitgol sat perfectly still, tail wagging slightly. The child touched the soft fur. "She's warm," Zelmin said with wonder. "Would you like to pet her more?" Zelmin nodded. They stroked Bitgol's head. The dog's tail wagged faster. Then Bitgol licked Zelmin's hand. The child laughed. It was a sound of pure joy. Within minutes, other children came forward. Soon Bitgol was surrounded by young Valorians, all petting her gently. The dog loved every moment of it, tail wagging constantly. In the back of the room, Zelmin's parents watched. They were crying. "I never thought I'd see this," Zelmin's mother said. "My child touching a predator and laughing." Quan Jihai smiled. "Bitgol isn't a predator to your child. She's just Bitgol, a friend." On Earth, Park Hyun observed everything from his space station. He watched Valorian ships come and go. He monitored communications between Earth and the Valorian Empire. The change was remarkable. The Empire was transforming. Worlds that had been conquered through fear were now being contacted with respect. The Valorians were learning a new approach. Instead of demanding submission, they offered partnership. "It's spreading," Lee Suji said when she visited his station. "Not just to Earth and Valoria. Other species in the Empire are watching. They see Valorians petting rabbits and walking with dogs. They're curious." "How many species have requested their own cultural exchanges?" Park Hyun asked. 14 so far. They all want to learn about Earth animals. Some want to know if they can start domestication programs on their own worlds. Park Hyun smiled. "We change the galaxy with dogs and cats." "We change the galaxy by showing a different path," Lee Suji corrected. The Valorians thought power came from force. "We showed them it comes from connection." On Valoria, a historic moment was approaching. The first Valorian family was about to adopt a dog. The family's name was Thelkor. They had spent 3 months in training, learning about dog care, behavior, and needs. They had visited Earth twice. Now they were ready. Oh Seungho brought them a young dog named Hanul. He was a mixed breed, gentle and friendly. He had been specifically chosen for this moment. "This is a huge responsibility," Oh Seungho said. "Hanul will depend on you for everything. Food, shelter, love, medical care. Can you provide that?" "Yes," the Thelkor family said together. "Then he's yours." The moment was broadcast across the Valorian Empire. Billions watched as the family approached Hanul. The dog wagged his tail. The youngest family member reached out and petted him. Hannah licked their face. The family laughed. It was such a simple moment. A family meeting their new dog. On Earth, it happened thousands of times every day. But on Valoria, it was revolutionary. Thexval watched the broadcast from his ship. He had changed so much in 6 months. He no longer feared the cat that had adopted him. Narai now lived on his ship. She slept on his bed. She demanded food at inconvenient times. She knocked things off his desk for no reason. He loved her completely. We were so wrong, he said to Lee Suji, who stood beside him. We thought conquering worlds made us powerful. We thought fear made us strong. You were strong, Lee Suji said. You conquered 47 worlds. That takes power. But we were also weak, HFY said. We were so afraid of predators that we became predators ourselves. We conquered others before they could threaten us. We never learned the most important lesson. What lesson? That the strongest bonds aren't chains, he said, stroking Narai's head. They're trust, love, partnership. A dog doesn't obey because it's forced. It obeys because it chooses to. A cat doesn't stay because it's trapped. It stays because it wants to. Narai purred loudly as if agreeing. Lee Suji looked out at the stars. What will you do now? With all those conquered worlds? We're sending delegations to each one, HFY said. Not with demands. With apologies. And offers of true partnership. It will take time. Some may never forgive us, but we have to try. And the empire? It won't be an empire anymore. It will be an alliance. Species working together by choice, not force. Humans taught us that different beings can cooperate. That trust is stronger than fear. A young Valorian officer approached. Ambassador, we have a request from the Valorian Council. They want to establish an interstellar institute for animal companionship. They're asking if Earth would help run it. Lee Suji and HFY looked at each other and smiled. Tell them yes, Lee Suji said. Months turned into years. The changes continued. Valorian families adopted dogs and cats. Earth animals spread across the galaxy. Other species began their own domestication projects. The former Valorian Empire became the Galactic Alliance, built on cooperation instead of conquest. Park Hyun stood at his observation post, now old and gray. He watched the ships moving between worlds. Humans and Valorians working together, other species joining them. A young human assistant approached. Sir, we just received word. The first dog born in space just had puppies. 5 healthy pups, Park Hyun laughed. Dogs in space. My grandmother would have loved to see this. Did you ever imagine it would turn out this way? The assistant asked. When you first detected that invasion fleet? No, Park Hyun admitted. I thought we would fight. Maybe lose. Maybe survive. I never imagined we would change them. We didn't just change them, the assistant said. We changed everything. Park Hyun nodded. That was true. The galaxy was different now. Species that had lived in isolation were meeting, sharing knowledge, building friendships. And all because humans had showed them something simple. That love was stronger than fear. That friendship was stronger than force. That a being with a dog was never truly alone. On Earth, in a small apartment, a child named Minseo played with her new puppy. The puppy chewed her toys and made her laugh. It was a normal moment, nothing special. But somewhere in orbit, a Valorian watched through a telescope and felt their heart warm. Because they understood now. They understood what humans had known for 40,000 years. The best weapons aren't made of metal. The strongest bonds aren't forged in war. True power comes from the simple act of reaching across the divide between species and saying, friend, and the galaxy would never be the same. HFY ordered a full reconnaissance mission. He needed to understand these humans better. Scout Captain Velix led a team of 12 Valorians down to Earth's surface. They came in peace, wearing no weapons, carrying only observation equipment. Remember, HFY told them before they left. Watch everything. Record everything. I need to know if what they showed us is real or theater. Velix and his team landed in a rural area. The humans had suggested they visit a farm first. A human named Yoon Jinha met them at the landing site. He was an older man with sun-weathered skin and a warm smile. Welcome to my farm, he said. Let me show you around. The Valorians followed carefully. They saw fields of crops stretching across the land. Then they saw the animals. A massive creature with 4 legs stood in a fenced area. It was taller than any Valorian. It had powerful muscles and heavy hooves that could crush bones. That's Dukwa, Yoon Jinha said. He's a horse. I've had him for 15 years. It could kill you, Velix said. He could, Yoon Jinha agreed. But he won't. The farmer walked up to the fence. The horse walked over to him. Yoon Jinha reached up and stroked the horse's nose. The massive animal lowered its head gently, accepting the affection. I'm going to ride him now, Yoon Jinha said. Want to watch? Before the Valorians could protest, the farmer climbed onto the horse's back. The horse didn't react with violence. It just stood there, waiting. Then Yoon Jinha gave a soft command and the horse began to walk, then trot, then run. The Valorians watched in amazement as human and horse moved together like one creature. When they returned, Yoon Jinha was smiling. Humans and horses have worked together for 6,000 years, he explained. They carried us across continents. They helped us farm. They fought in our wars. Now many people keep them just for companionship. He pointed to other animals. Those are cattle. We raise them for milk and meat. The smaller ones are chickens. They give us eggs. The fluffy ones are sheep. We use their wool for clothing. You control all of them? Felix asked. Not control, manage, care for. There's a difference. A small bird flew down and landed on Yoon Jinha's shoulder. It chirped at him. He pulled seeds from his pocket and fed it. This little one isn't even mine, he laughed. Wild bird. But she visits every day. She knows I'll share food. The Valorians recorded everything. This wasn't theater. This was daily life for humans. Next, they visited a city. Imseori met them at her veterinary clinic in Seoul. She was a young woman with kind eyes and gentle hands. A veterinarian is someone who heals animals, she explained. We spend years learning about different species, how they think, what they need, how to cure their illnesses. She showed them her clinic. There were dogs, cats, rabbits, and birds waiting for treatment. Some were sick. Some were just there for routine checkups. This is Bokshil, Imseori said, picking up a small cat. She has diabetes. Her owner brings her here every week for medicine. The medicine is expensive. The owner works 2 jobs to afford it. Why? Felix asked. If the animal is sick, why not replace it with a healthy one? Imseori looked shocked. Because Bokshil is family. You don't replace family. She showed them her surgery room. Last week I operated on a dog that ate something dangerous. The surgery took 6 hours. The owners waited the entire time. When I told them their dog would live, they cried with joy. A Valorian scout spoke up. You spend this much effort on creatures that aren't your own species? Of course, Imseori said simply. They depend on us. We chose to bring them into our lives. That means we're responsible for them. Loving them. Protecting them. Healing them when they're hurt, she smiled. Besides, they give us so much. Companionship, joy, unconditional love. It's not a burden. It's a privilege. The next stop was a nature preserve. Bae Woojin was a park ranger who protected wild animals. He took the Valorians on a tour through the forest. This preserve is home to tigers, he said. They're endangered, very rare. We guard them carefully. Tigers? Felix checked his scanner. Those are apex predators. Solitary hunters. They could kill you easily. Yes, Bae Woojin said. That's why we protect them. Protect them? From what? From humans who would hunt them. From habitat destruction. From extinction. Felix struggled to understand. But they're dangerous to you. They're also magnificent, Bae Woojin said. They have a right to exist. Just because we can destroy them doesn't mean we should. We share this planet. That means protecting all life, not just our own. He showed them camera footage of tigers moving through the forest. The big cats were powerful and graceful. I've dedicated my life to protecting them, Bae Woojin said. I'll probably never touch one. They're wild and should stay wild, but knowing they're out there living free, that matters to me. The final visit was to an aquarium. Kim Hyun was a marine biologist who studied ocean life. She took the Valorians to a massive tank filled with water. Those are sharks, she said, pointing at large shapes moving through the water. Very efficient predators. They've existed for over 400 million years. You keep them in a cage? Felix asked. This is a research facility and sanctuary. We study them. We learn from them. Some of these sharks were injured in the wild. We healed them. When they're ready, we release them back to the ocean. She smiled. Want to see something amazing? Kim Hyun changed into special gear and entered the water. The Valorians rushed to the glass, certain they were about to witness a death. But the sharks didn't attack. Kim Hyun swam among them calmly. She even reached out and touched one gently as it passed. When she emerged, dripping wet, she saw the Valorians' shocked faces. I've been swimming with sharks for 10 years, she said. You have to understand them. Respect them. They're not mindless killers. They're complex creatures with their own behaviors and patterns. But they could kill you, Felix repeated. So could a car accident. So could falling downstairs. Life has risks. But the risk is worth it to learn about these incredible animals. That evening, Felix compiled his report. His hands shook as he wrote. The humans weren't lying. They really did live alongside predators. They cared for them, healed them, protected them, even risked their lives to study them. But one thing stood out above all else. It was something he had seen in every location. Every human he met showed the same trait. They weren't afraid. Yunjinha stood calmly beside horses that could crush him. Imseori held sick animals that could bite or scratch. Beiwu Jin walked forests filled with tigers. Kim Hyun swam with sharks. Fear should have kept them away. Fear should have made them cautious. But they showed no fear, or rather they felt fear but chose to move beyond it. Velix thought about his own species. The Valorians had conquered 47 worlds. They had powerful weapons and strong armies, but they conquered through fear. They made others afraid. Humans did the opposite. They overcame fear. They transformed it into something else. Trust, curiosity, love. He finished his report with a final observation. Commander, these beings didn't just survive in a world filled with predators. They thrived because of those predators. They learned from them, partnered with them, loved them. I believe this makes them more dangerous than any species we've encountered. He paused, then added one more line. If they can befriend wolves and swim with sharks, what would they do with us? Velix sent the report and looked out at Earth below. Somewhere down there, a child was probably playing with a dog. An old woman was probably stroking a cat. A farmer was probably feeding his horses. Simple moments. Daily life. Nothing special to humans. But to Velix, it was the most terrifying thing he had ever witnessed.